Today's the 19th, right?
October 5th? Oh. Correct date should be October 5th.
All right, we're going to change that 19 to a 5. City Council minutes of October 5th. B is the St. Clair Historical Commission minutes of September 10th, 2015. Recommendation received, and the resignation from the Planning Commission accept with regrets.
Motion to approve A through C as presented.
Support.
All right, motion's made and supported. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Go to number 5, and I'm open the public hearing. We have a public hearing on the Industrial Facilities Exemption Certificate from IAC St. Clair LLC. Bruce, do you want to kick this off for us?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, City Council, staff, good evening. My name is Bruce Seymour, and I'm with the Economic Development Alliance of St. Clair County. And whenever I come before City Council, I always bring good news. So when you see me, just put a smile on your face. We have some good news about an expansion of one of your companies here. IAC St. Clair is planning on expanding their operations. With me tonight, I have Mike Bach, who is the plant manager, and he'll talk a little bit about the project itself. But what's before you is a request for a IFT tax abatement of 50% abatement on the new construction only for a period of 12 years. Companies, industrial companies are always faced with additional taxes. And one of the ways that local communities can assist companies in these expansions is through a tax abatement. The tax abatement does not affect any of the current income that the city is earning. This is on 50% abatement on the incremental improvements that the company is going to be doing at their site. And so it's on future revenue of 50% reduction. Mike, if you want to come up and talk a little bit about the project itself.
Yes, good evening. What we're looking at is expanding 40,000 square feet to the north of our building. It is within the current restrictions that are allowed for that site. We're looking at approximately, when we filed for this, we were committing to a projected 194 permanent jobs in St. Clair. Already we're at 222 at the site. We're looking at a possible another 30 full-time employees by the middle of March, and we're also quoting some more business, so this addition is very important to IAC and of course the community.
What are you putting in the new addition?
Right now the primary business going in is going to be our warehouse. Okay, right now we're outsourcing our warehouse work to Mugler here in town. We're of the 40,000 square feet, we're looking at 20,000 square feet being a warehouse, and then the other 20,000 square feet would be open for new business that we're quoting.
So new robotic cells and...
We've got foam clamps in there, you know, very, what's the word, low-tech robots. I mean, there's, you know, we're pouring foam and water jet cutting floors for Chrysler and GM primarily.
Okay.
Anybody else any questions for Bruce or Mike?
Yeah, I got a couple. It says you're going to create 57 new jobs,
Yes, sir.
and you're going to retain 194.
Yes, sir.
These full-time jobs,
Yes.
benefits?
Yes. UAW 9699.
All right, and hold on one second here. One other thing. By January 31st of each year, you'll be sending the city a letter stating what it states in here about what's going on,
Yes.
starting this January, correct?
January of this year?
January of next year, yes.
Next
Well,
year's
it states in here the
2000.
first January of the when it starts.
I'm sorry, 16. I meant next year, January of next year.
Right.
By January 31st of each year of the IFEC, so that'd be this year, right?
2016.
16,
January 15's already
Is that when it starts? 16?
yes.
Yeah.
And that's something that we will assist the city with in going out to any of the companies that received a tax abatement and getting those numbers as required by the agreement documents.
This is on all real property, nothing personal has been done away with, right?
That is correct. This is only asking on the real property. Just as you stated, the personal property has been eliminated, and so this, the dollar amount that's on there is for real property only.
And it states in there that the 57 new jobs, and purpose, it says new jobs could be obviously new employees or transfers,
Correct.
either or. How many you plan on transferring out of the 57?
None. We plan on hiring them all.
Hiring all
New.
57 new.
Correct.
You know, off the top of your head, just how many employees are from the city of St. Clair or within the,
The majority of them seem like St. Clair, Port Huron area primarily. We've got a few from, north of Port Huron, but pretty much right here in the general area.
Anybody else?
We've been working with the company through one of our partner organizations, Michigan Work. They've held a job fair for IAC St. Clair about a month ago, and they'll also be participating in the Veterans Job Fair, which is taking place on November 6th up in Port Huron, to look for those local workers.
I would move to approve.
This is just a public hearing.
Oh,
move to close the hearing?
We don't need to do that.
That's what
Does
you
anybody else have any
meant.
questions?
I guess not.
From the
All right,
audience.
then I'll close the public hearing. Anybody back there? All right, and I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's go to number 6. This is the resolution to approve the application of IEC St. Clair LLC 2001 Christian B. Haas Drive for Industrial Facilities Exemption Certificate under PA 198 of 1974 as amended.
So moved.
Can you repeat that?
Motion been made and supported. Motion made and supported. Questions? All right, call the roll, please.
Foley,
Yes.
Kinsfater, Kleeman,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
McCartney.
Yes.
Cedar,
Yes.
carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yep,
Could I butt in 1 second, Bill?
sure.
Well, Mr. Kleeman mentioned down there, I guess, just before we go any further, I don't want to forget because I even made a note here in ink. Do we get reports from all companies that we've issued tax abatements to?
That's something that the Economic Development Alliance is working hard to make sure we get those reports from.
Yes.
And we will be actually looking to do a joint letter from the city and the EDA to get those numbers for you.
Now, does the city assessor get this information on a yearly basis from all of the participants in abatements? And, I mean, don't I remember seeing this in most of these agreements? And
Yeah, Councilman Kleeman asked me earlier today, and I looked at it prior to coming. The one company that's been very good with following up is IAC.
Sure.
And with the others, no. They're very poor at getting that. So yes, we do need some help from the EDA to get better response back. Because obviously we do have others that are out there and should be doing the same thing.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. All right, we'll go to number 7, Courts Administration. Mr. Booth, I know you have some exciting things planned for us here, so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Still good.
I don't see it on my agenda.
What's going on here?
Turn the lights down just a little bit, maybe. Keep them on in the back. I don't want them sleeping back there.
Can you see all right?
Can you see it, or would you like one off? It's fine. Okay. We have an upcoming road millage, November 3rd, and I'd like to just go over a few slides. Earlier today, this was distributed to council. It is on our website, and the mayor and I also met with Paul Dingman and did an interview roundtable, I guess you'd say, and we went over the same information. So just want to make sure that everyone does see it and they get a chance to consider all the pieces that are involved, and if there's other questions to address them to someone at City Hall or one of your council members. Some of these slides I've used historically, This is South 9th Street, Cass, Glen Eagles up in the Highlands, Sinclair Street. And just want to make sure everyone understands that in the city we have a little over 29 miles of roads, of which 20 miles would be local streets. And you'll see here in a bit the condition of the local streets is pretty poor. This one is, I think, a very good slide in that you can see here the streets that are good up here at the top, which would be rated 6 to 10. In 2008, when we did a study, the PASER rating was 42% of the roads fell into that category. And the one we just did here this year, we're now down to 23%. Poor roads, obviously, increasing from 37 up to 48, so roads are not getting better. Had a hard time stretching this out, but I think you can see on the legend on the left, on the top there, if a road is black, that's a 1, that's the worst rated. Green is a 9, I think we have 1 maybe. But you see a lot of orange and or red or yellow, and those are the streets that are between 2 to 5. Those are the poor roads. So you obviously see a lot of that, and whether it's scrunched like it is or not, I mean, it's really telling. This is where they took and applied, based on the PASER ratings, how much it would cost to make improvements. Whether it's asphalt or concrete, and they're calling it composite. But the far right column here, if we were to fix everything, it'd be in excess of $20 million. So, again, the roads that are rated 1 to 3, and that's just big numbers. And then moving on to the road millage, this is what we have coming up on the ballot. We have there's 2 pieces to it. It's one, however, it's one request. And what we're asking for is a continuation of 2.4902. Currently, residents are paying that. But what we're using it for currently is to service the debt that we took out to fix roads back in 2006 and 7. So that piece of debt will expire in November of 16. And again, we'd like to continue that for a 10-year period. The other portion of it is for a 1.5 mil perpetual. And as you can see, the 2 of those numbers together is going to provide about $750,000 a year to start making road improvements. And that'll be every year.
Every year for 10 years.
For 10 years, yeah, absolutely.
Which is $7.5 million, which is 25% of the 28 million.
Yeah, so obviously not fixing, right?
Just doing some quick math.
We're going to have more roads that'll drop, but you're also going to see every year of 750, you're going to start seeing some roads in the neighborhood that will look good and be done. What we did is we took and said, what's the average taxable value of a piece of property in St. Clair? And that number is $70,641. So currently, again, people are paying $176 for that average house, or $1,466 a month. The piece that we're adding, the 1.5 mils, on that would be $106 a year, or $883 a month. So again, that's for the average house. And then felt it was important to let people know where we do receive revenues currently for roads. So the city receives state gas tax for both local and major roads. We have the voter-approved millage currently of the 2.49, which again is just servicing debt. And then we do transfer money in from the general fund, from the operating millage that we collect.
What do we get from the county, Mike?
Pardon me?
How much we get from the county?
It's a $0.25 and total is less than $50,000. 42 to 48, if I had to give you a number off the top of my head. So again, here, this is from our 2015-16 budget, the revenues for major streets, and you see the biggest piece is for servicing the debt. And then we transfer in $75,000 from the general, and then the other piece is the gas tax from the state. And that's all the revenue you get from major streets currently. This here shows what we spend it on, and again, there's the debt service on the left. Snow removal, which a lot of people are always interested in, it's about $60,000 for both local and major. What else do we have? We have the other important pieces right here. Currently, we have just over $100,000 that we have available for construction work, which is not going to do a whole lot of work. I think I've shared some of the numbers if we were to repair CAS or if we were to repair some of these roads. 105, you're doing some more or less small sections. Moving to local streets, again, transferring here from the general funds, much larger, $180,000. You can see the gas tax. And then, and when they send it to us from the state, it actually indicates what's local and what's major streets. They give you that. And then, Bill, you're asking me about the county, the quarter mil. $33,512. That is all. There's no other millage for local streets. That's it. And then the balance of $12,000 or $13,000 goes to the major. And that's allocated just based on the miles of roads. That's how we allocate that. Again, expenses. Here the number for construction, $57,500. It's smaller. Got your snow removal, $55,000. So that's what we currently have.
What's that administration number, Mike?
Most of that's your DPW overhead.
What does it say? 97?
It's wrinkled, I can't see it.
Yeah, I can't see it.
Which one?
97,724.
So $100,000 for administration?
Yep. Big chunk of that is healthcare for DPW.
It comes out of the street fund?
Based on the wages that they, when we allocate it out, we'll allocate based on wage. It goes to water, goes to sewer, goes to, some of it goes to general
So
fund.
if this passes, this 700 and change, it's strictly going to construction?
Going to construction. We already have the
Plus-
money coming in to cover
Plus
the
what's
other
up
work.
there,
Pardon me?
on top of what we're already spending?
Yep.
Well, not all of it, because we're asking for a renewal.
Well, you'll after 2016 November.
Right,
You'll
right,
pick
right.
up the whole thing.
Right.
Well, I think what we indicated as well is if there's any shortage, we would consider going to the fund balance to gap any construction that first year.
Are we limited by charter or statute how much we can transfer out of a general fund to local roads?
We could transfer more
Is that discretionary by you?
by council when you approve the budget.
Is it?
Yeah, you can always do more. I mean, if we needed to. I think the year we had some issues on St. Clair Highway, we transferred more out, came back to you and asked for a budget adjustment. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
That's kind of it. I want to make sure the residents were aware of it. I don't know if everyone watches cable TV. I don't know if everyone's, not everybody sees some of this stuff, so.
Thank you.
The only thing I'd like to add to that, I don't know if anybody else is a Facebook watcher, but sometimes you can glean a lot of information on some of the sites, especially the one that says, you're from St. Clair if or when or whatever the idiom is, but there seems to be some information floating around about how much money the city wastes on things like the boat races. And I think that's a lot of misinformation that certainly we as council reps, when we hear that stuff, I think it's our responsibility to try to dispel the best we can, because that is just false information that is going around, that people are saying we're not going to vote because we waste so much money on those types of events, and I try to do my best to respond to those things with facts, but I think if anybody sees and hears that, I think we have an obligation, especially if we want this, we need this to pass.
Does the city have a Facebook,
Not an official page.
what do they call that, a page, do they?
Yeah, there's currently a City of St. Clair Facebook page, but it was not created by the city.
It's not an official page.
Correct.
Again, any of this information it is on the website, I think the only thing we don't have up currently that I said I will get up is, there's a listing by road. So if someone wants to go out and say, I live on Vine Street, what's my rating, or, you know, and it'll list them all. So I'd like to get that out there so folks can
That's a
actually
good-
see that.
That's good information to have out there, thank you.
Is there any way we can stick some vote yes signs in, you know, around town? And
We're limited on that, right?
Right.
I mean, kind of like election signs, right?
You can
have a big-
advertise, you get out and vote, but it's tough in front of a business or, well, a home you could say vote yes, but it can't be in city right away, and it can't, what's the other big, it can't be in city right away.
On city property.
On city
I
property.
guess, could I recommend contacting the Times Herald and trying to get an article between now and...
They should have one.
They already
I'm
talked.
surprised
Bob Gross talked.
it hasn't been published yet.
Okay.
I bet tomorrow, probably.
And then the only one we haven't, Mr. Block, have to get with him.
Mike, you running anything on your
We will.
sign, are you?
Sure.
I mean, I guess, you know, there's lots of properties, I think, that would volunteer to have signs like that up in their yard, you know. And, I mean, can we encourage homeowners to make signs and put them out in their yard, or, I guess I'm encouraging them right now, aren't I? Out in TV land, but,
Well, you just have to remember when you're asking for one side, you're going to get the other side too, so.
Yeah, I think as long as people understand that if they have questions, call any of us, call City Hall. I think it's pretty straightforward, and I think if enough people have, I have had a real good positive response from people. I think people understand the situation. But certainly, ask questions, call us. It's all for roads.
and all we're doing is we're asking for a renewal of the 10 years that they're currently paying. And we're asking for a 1.5 mil perpetual, which equals $8.83 a month for the average homeowner.
That's correct.
$8.08, let's round it off to $9. $9. Seems like a deal.
All right, thank you, Mr. Booth. Mr. Downey, you have anything tonight?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
No city departments, any authorities, boards, commissions, committees, chairs, council reps?
And I do, I know that we were finished up on the road presentation. I did have a question regarding code enforcement for the superintendent, if where we are with replacing Katie.
We are going to post the position. I don't think it's up yet,
It's not up yet.
but it will be posted, and we will hire to replace her. And yes, we have some work to do. She's agreed to help catch us back up, because I know there's some, it has slid a bit since she's left, so.
When you say post, Mike, you mean internally or we
We'll
going
post
outside?
internal and external.
Any particular reason we can't put it in the voice? Like everybody else that's looking for help?
Reason why we haven't in the past sometimes is cost, but typically it's
think-
posted on our website.
Oh,
and,
not like I say, not everybody goes on it. Everybody gets the voice. Goes to every home, and I read it, and always something there, somebody looking for help or bids or something, and I think that we ought to start putting it in the voice. Gets out to everybody for free.
Not anymore, you gotta pay to get it.
I haven't paid yet,
It's coming. I
Yep.
think the subscriptions are
But
coming.
but I think, short, I mean, other than the website and coming in here looking at the board, there's a lot of people out there that don't know what's going on.
All right, we'll go to number 8, no unfinished business. We have new business tonight, the Metro Act permit. Mr. Downey, are you going to address that, or?
I can, Your Honor. Before the council for approval is a Metro Act permit application that's been submitted by Fiber Technologies LLC of New York State, and this matter, I believe, was before the council at its last meeting with a couple of unanswered questions. Subsequently to our last meeting, those questions have been resolved to my satisfaction, and there's nothing about the permit application that hasn't been vetted or answered, and it's set for council approval tonight.
No, I had a few questions, but Mr. Booth kind of answered them. I went first glance at the draft here. It says a one-time charge of $500. I thought, well, that's awful inexpensive, but then there's all that's going on in an existing tower, which already exists, and we have a lease on that. Is that right, Mike?
We do have a lease currently where they're paying, and that's with
American Towers.
American Tower. Thank you.
And if I remember correctly, when that lease was signed, part of their agreement was they had to furnish space for additional carriers. And that's what this is, right?
Then are they subleasing?
There was a letter of authorization approved from American Towers to Fiber Technologies.
Mr. Laporte, that was one of the outstanding issues that I didn't feel that the permit was ready for council's consideration at the last meeting because that question was unanswered, and they've subsequently provided correspondence from American Towers that answers that question satisfactorily.
So that's what they're saying though, Jim, right?
Yes.
Who's requesting that we have more fiber optics installed in the city? Who's requesting that?
The company from New York.
I mean, are they acting on something that we've asked them to do?
That's their business. They're trying to lay more cable in the city, probably in the hope that they'll have people that will approach them about using their cable, providing more services to the residents.
It's not a service we've asked for, or AT&T hasn't asked for it, or...
They're just a private fiber optic cable company availing themselves of the Metro Act, which allows for the placement of fiber optic cable in public rights of way.
Butch, I think you mentioned that
Yeah,
there
Jim,
was...
just looking at the map, it's not a really good map, but on the map here, it looks like they're going to do overhead on Oakland, and then the AEW letter says they're going to be on South Riverside. Do you know which road they're going to follow there?
I do not know. I do not. I had to defer to Mr. Pangori on some of these things because I had the same difficulty on the map.
Okay.
And he actually raised another issue that, again, has been resolved, and that was part of the right-of-way that was recited by FiberTech was Edison Street, which Mr. Pangori indicated didn't exist anymore. That it was actually...
Yeah, that goes back on.
Yes.
It was plotted to go alongside the DPW.
Yeah, subsumed by that property, but that's been resolved with this American Towers lease as well.
So you're satisfied with...
Yes, I am.
Well, here, no other discussion, I make a motion to approve.
Support.
All right, the motion is made, supported. Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Kinsfater?
Yes.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
No.
Foley?
No.
Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Number 10 is claims and accounts for October 8th and October 16th.
Here, no questions, Your Honor, I make a motion to approve as presented.
Support.
Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And number 11 is public comment. Any questions out here? Okay, we'll go to number 12. A couple things. Halloween, the hours are 5 till 8 o'clock. Halloween night, 5 till 8. And certainly, just a precursor here, November 3rd is the election. We do have a meeting the night before, but if everybody just kind of mark the calendar, get out and vote November 3rd. If you have any questions, as we mentioned before, you can call Mr. Booth, call one of your council people, city clerk. Don't be afraid. If you're not sure, ask. This is, in our opinion, a much-needed project that this city needs to move forward and get our roads in order. Does anybody else have anything from council?
I do.
Your Honor, I had the opportunity to go down to the Historical Committee last Thursday for the presentation that Mary Boda put on for the history of the fire department, and it was a very nice program, very informative and enjoyable.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. I did hear good things, good reports.
Where were you, Mayor?
Thursday night?
You're in trouble now.
Don't remember. I'll have to look on my calendar. Who else? Yeah.
I just wanted to ask about crack sealing. That's been taking place regularly, or?
Has been going on, and I know we've done some on weekends, and I know I've heard some I guess you'd say probably some negative comments about that, but when you know leaves are coming and you don't know sometimes if you're going to have a water main break or other things going on during the week or whatever comes up, I guess you do it when the sun's shining and it's not raining, so we are moving along. We have yet to do the boat harbor, want to get that done or touched up. It was done last year by someone else, or maybe 2 years ago now. Last year.
2 years.
Was it 2? Okay. And then I know we want to take a crack at,
Play on words there.
didn't even plan that one. Some of the east-west streets we haven't gotten to. We've been doing more of the 9th Street. I think we actually did do Brown. And, but yeah, we definitely want to get back out and it will continue as long as we can.
Are they getting better at it? I know there was probably a learning curve at first, but I watched them last week on 9th Street, and they're doing a good job, and I think it's well worth the investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They did Brown Street. I was amazed how quickly they did it.
Yeah.
Well, we do have 2 new DPW people, so I would assume that there's probably now another learning curve, but the guys that are there, I'm sure can show them tricks of the
What's the
trade, so.
complaints on the weekends?
Just, can't you do it during the week? And usually what we do is early in the week, we try to look at the calendar or the extended forecast, which obviously can change hourly, right?
Right.
But get an idea of what days you have available to do things like that.
Well, I would
so.
think the weekend, Saturday is a good time because, the school buses and kids running around and it's
Now you have leaves blowing
less
around.
traffic and, well, you're gonna have that on Tuesday just as well as you would
Yeah.
Saturday, so.
Speaking of the harbor, are we crack sealing and are we coating down there this fall, and are we painting lines?
I don't think anyone wanted to invest, or shouldn't say anyone. I thought that they didn't want to invest the money to seal coat it, but they do want to crack seal. So I have not followed up on the meeting that happened on Saturday, which I was not at. So I don't know if anything's changed there now, but.
All right, then we'll move to number 13. I'll ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss the strategy connected with the negotiation of a collective bargaining agreement with employees represented by the Police Officers Labor Council, POLC.
So move.
All right, the motion's made, supported. Questions? Call the roll, please.
Kleeman?
Yes.
Laporte?
Yes.
McCartney?
Yes.
Foley?
Yes.
Kinsfater? Cedar?
Yes.
Carried, Your Honor.
All right, you ladies are welcome to stay, but we won't be taking any action when we come out. Thank you.
Those